to the Rogues Galleria, where the wicked live forever. Every crime, every killer's tale, locked in time we unveil. Yeah, the darkness tells ya you can't run from your past. In the Rogues Galleria, we make the legends last.
Hi, and welcome back to Rogues Crime Galleria. I'm your host, Todd H., and today we're going to get into the Lindbergh Kidnapping. You know, Charles Lindbergh, across the Atlantic, did all that great stuff. This is going to be a little bit of a different journey, I'm afraid. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We have new shows every Monday and every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a very intriguing story, and wow, who really knows what happened here. But right now, without any further ado, let's get into it.
Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time we're really going deep into this one.
Yeah.
This is the Lindbergh Kidnapping.
Ooh.
And I know you think you know the story.
Right.
But we're going to go way beyond the surface here. We're going to piece together insights from FBI records, old news articles, and even a theory that throws a whole new wrench into what we think we know about this case.
Interesting.
And just to really pique your curiosity here.
Yeah.
For 2 years after the kidnapping, the investigation was ice cold. No real leads, no suspects. And then a single gold certificate appears. And boom, the whole case explodes.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, it just shows you how those seemingly insignificant details can become like linchpins in these complex investigations. Like sometimes all you need is that one break to crack the whole thing open.
So let's set the scene. It's March 1st, 1932, a little after 9:00 p.m. at the Lindbergh estate in New Jersey. 20-month-old Charles Jr. is taken from his second-floor nursery, and what's really strange is that the scene is almost eerily clean.
Yeah, that's what struck me too. You know, when I was looking through those FBI files, there were some muddy footprints, a broken ladder, but no fingerprints.
Wow.
No bloodstains. It's like the kidnapper was almost meticulous to the point of being a ghost.
It's chilling, right? All they find is a ransom note on the windowsill demanding $50,000.
Right.
No wonder this case instantly blew up in the media.
Absolutely. You can imagine the pressure on the investigators with that level of public scrutiny.
Yeah.
Every move they made was analyzed, every theory dissected in the newspapers. He must have been crazy.
Okay, so let's follow the ransom trail, because this is where the story takes some really wild turns. It wasn't just one note. We're talking a whole series of them. This back and forth between the kidnappers and the Lindbergh family. First, the demand goes up to $70,000. Then enters this retired school principal, Dr. Condon.
Right.
He becomes a key player under the code name Jassy.
Now, Dr. Condon was actually the one who suggested using the local newspapers to communicate with the kidnappers, and he even met with a mysterious John at Woodlawn Cemetery and received the baby's sleeping suit as proof of life.
A cemetery rendezvous. This is like something out of a spy thriller or something.
No, right?
Yeah.
And the whole exchange just really adds to the mystery of the kidnappers' motives. You see this calculated planning, but then there are these almost amateurish moves, like leaving the sleeping suit.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, was this someone experienced, or were they just totally in over their heads?
Yeah, and just when it seems like there might be some progress, the Lindberghs pay the final $50,000 ransom. But the instructions to find the baby on a boat called Nellie lead to nothing.
It's heartbreaking. That whole series of ransom notes, though, you know, they provide such a unique window into the kidnapper's psyche. You see these increasing demands. It suggests desperation, but the seemingly unnecessary risks, you know, like leaving that sleeping suit, it points towards someone who might not be a seasoned criminal.
It's that contradiction that really sticks with you. So then comes May 12, 1932. The baby's body is discovered not far from the Lindbergh home, partly buried. The cause of death, a blow to the head. And it turns out little Charles had been dead for about 2 months.
That discovery throws a huge wrench into everything.
I bet.
If the baby was already dead during those later ransom exchanges, what was the real objective here? Was it truly just about the money? It complicates our understanding of the kidnapper's motivation.
Yeah, and this is where the investigation itself gets really messy. Because of jurisdictional issues, the FBI was initially just supporting local authorities.
Right.
So you have all these different agencies and conflicting theories, and even con men like Gaston B. is trying to capitalize on the chaos.
Oh, Means is a fascinating character in all of this. He managed to convince a wealthy socialite that he had a direct line to the kidnappers and could negotiate the baby's release. Pure fabrication, of course, designed to just swindle her out of a small fortune.
Wow. So it really shows how quickly misinformation can spread,
Yeah.
especially in a case with this much media attention.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone had a theory, everyone wanted to be involved, and that made it incredibly difficult for investigators to separate fact from fiction.
Exactly. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but the haystack keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Oh, yeah.
And then just when it seemed like the case might go cold forever in 1933, something remarkable happens.
The real turning point.
Yeah. President Roosevelt issues an executive order demanding all gold certificates be returned to the Treasury. It seemed completely unrelated to the case.
Right.
But remember that $40,000 of the Lindbergh ransom was in gold certificates.
Oh, wow. So suddenly that money becomes a lot more traceable.
Precisely. Each certificate has a unique serial number so investigators can follow its movements. So it becomes this waiting game. But in September of 1934, a $10 gold certificate from the ransom money surfaces at a gas station.
And that's where we meet Bruno Richard Hauptmann.
Right.
The man who would ultimately be convicted of the kidnapping and murder.
Right. That single gold certificate started a chain reaction, leading investigators straight to Hauptmann's door.
So before we get into the details of Hauptmann's arrest and trial, I think we need to take a step back and look at the evidence they gathered against him.
Absolutely. That's where the real deep dive begins.
Okay, so let's unpack it all after a quick break. We'll be right back with part 2 of this deep dive into the Lindbergh kidnapping. All right, so we left off with Bruno Richard Hauptmann entering the picture, thanks to that fateful gold certificate.
It is remarkable how that one piece of evidence just, changed the whole trajectory of the investigation.
So what exactly did they have on Hauptmann?
Well, when they searched his garage, they found over $14,000 of the ransom money hidden away.
That's pretty damning evidence right there.
Yeah, you would think so, but Hauptmann insisted that he was innocent.
What else did they have to link him to the crime?
Handwriting analysis was a major part of their case. So experts compared Hauptmann's writing samples to the ransom notes, and they found significant similarities.
That makes sense. I mean, back then, handwriting analysis was a pretty big deal in investigations, right?
Oh, absolutely. It was considered a very reliable method at the time, although today, of course, we have much more advanced forensic techniques.
Right.
But even back then, the prosecution presented multiple experts who testified that the handwriting was a match.
And what about those face-to-face meetings with John?
Right, so both Dr. Condon and the taxi driver who drove John to one of the ransom drops, they both identified Hauptmann as the man they had met.
So multiple witnesses putting him at the scene.
Exactly, and then there's that infamous ladder. Remember how we talked about the lack of evidence at the crime scene?
Right.
Well, there's that broken ladder found near the nursery window, and experts testified that the wood from that ladder matched wood found in Hauptmann's attic.
Wow. So they had the ransom money, the handwriting, the eyewitness accounts, even a piece of the ladder. That seems like a pretty strong case.
It was definitely compelling, but keep in mind, a lot of the evidence was circumstantial.
Right.
The defense argued that the money was planted, that the handwriting analysis was subjective, and that the eyewitness accounts could be unreliable.
Yeah, I guess when you're dealing with a case this high profile, every piece of evidence is going to be scrutinized and challenged.
Absolutely. And the defense did raise some valid points. For example, they argued that the ladder could have been tampered with and that the wood analysis wasn't as precise as the prosecution made it seem.
So even with all that evidence, there was still room for doubt.
There always is, especially in a case that relies so heavily on circumstantial evidence.
Right.
And that's what makes the Lindbergh kidnapping so fascinating.
Yeah.
Even with a conviction, there were and still are lingering questions.
Which brings us to that alternative theory that we mentioned earlier. The one that really turns the whole story on its head.
Yes. Lise Perlman's controversial claim that Charles Lindbergh himself may have been behind the kidnapping.
Okay, I'll admit, this is the part that really caught my attention. To think that Lucky Lindy, the American hero, could have orchestrated the whole thing.
Right.
It's almost too crazy to believe. But what's the basis of Perlman's theory?
Well, Perlman connects Lindbergh to the eugenics movement, which was gaining traction at the time.
Okay.
And Lindbergh was known to have corresponded with Dr. Alexis Curl, a prominent French biologist who, let's just say, had some controversial views on genetic purity and selective breeding.
Yeah, I'm guessing those views haven't aged well.
Not at all, but in the context of the time, eugenics was a topic that many intellectuals and scientists were discussing, although often in a deeply problematic way.
So where does the kidnapping fit into all of this?
Well, Perlman suggests that Lindbergh, influenced by Carroll's ideas, may have been involved in some sort of experimental medical procedure on his son, a procedure that went tragically wrong.
So she's saying the kidnapping was a cover-up.
That's her theory. She points to inconsistencies in Lindbergh's public statements. Some medical reports that were never fully explained, and even passages from Lindbergh's own writings that seem to hint at a darker side.
Okay, I have to admit, that's pretty intriguing.
It is, isn't it? Of course, Perlman's theory has been met with a lot of skepticism and criticism, and rightfully so.
Right.
It's a bold claim that requires a lot more investigation to determine if it holds any real weight.
So where do we go from here? We have the official story, the one that led to Hauptmann's conviction.
Right.
But then we have this alternative theory that throws everything into question.
It's almost like we're looking at two different puzzles with some of the same pieces but arranged in completely different ways.
And that's the beauty of a deep dive like this. We're not just rehashing the same old narrative. We're exploring different perspectives, challenging assumptions.
Absolutely.
And ultimately leaving it up to you, the listener, to decide what to believe.
Exactly. We've laid out the evidence, the arguments, the conflicting theories. Now it's time for you to weigh the information, do your own research, and see where you land.
You know, I think it's easy to get caught up in the whodunit aspect of all of this.
Right.
But the human element is essential.
Absolutely.
And I think that's part of what makes Perlman's theory so unsettling.
Yeah.
If it were true, it would completely change our understanding of Charles Lindbergh, the man.
Exactly. He was a national hero, a symbol of courage and innovation after his transatlantic flight.
Right.
To think that he might have been capable of such a thing, driven by these misguided and frankly horrific eugenic ideas.
Yeah.
It's deeply disturbing.
It really challenges our perception of history, of the people we consider heroes. It reminds us that everyone has complexities, and sometimes the truth can be a lot more nuanced than the stories we tell ourselves.
It also speaks to the importance of critical thinking, of questioning what we think we know.
Right.
Especially in a world where information is so readily available, we need to be diligent about evaluating sources, considering different perspectives, and being willing to acknowledge that sometimes there might not be easy answers.
I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners. This deep dive into the Lindbergh kidnapping isn't about providing definitive answers. It's about encouraging you to explore the complexities,
Right.
to weigh the evidence, and to form your own conclusions.
Exactly. We've presented you with the official narrative, the evidence that led to Hauptmann's conviction, and then we've explored this alternative theory that throws a whole new wrench into the story.
And as you dig deeper into this case, whether through the resources we've mentioned or through your own research, keep in mind that history is rarely black and white. There are always shades of gray, unanswered questions,
Right.
and perspectives we might not have considered.
And who knows, maybe somewhere out there's a piece of evidence that's yet to be discovered, something that could definitively solve this mystery once and for all.
Right.
Or maybe the Lindbergh kidnapping will forever remain an enigma, a case that continues to spark debate and intrigue generations later.
And I think that's what makes it so fascinating. It's a story that keeps us guessing, keeps us questioning, keeps us engaged in the pursuit of truth, even if that truth remains elusive. So as we conclude this deep dive, we encourage you to continue the exploration. Read those FBI files, examine the evidence, consider the arguments, and see what conclusions you draw.
Because ultimately, that's the power of history. It's not just about memorizing dates and names. It's about engaging with the past, wrestling with its complexities, and using it to inform our understanding of the present.
And with that, we'll leave you to ponder the mystery of the Lindbergh kidnapping. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time for another journey into the fascinating and sometimes unsettling depths of history. You know, it's easy to get caught up in that whodunit aspect of it all.
Right.
But you're right, the human element is so essential.
Absolutely.
And I think that's part of what makes Perlman's theory so unsettling. If it were true, it would completely change our understanding of Charles Lindbergh the man.
Exactly. He was a national hero, a symbol of courage and innovation after that transatlantic flight.
Right.
To think that he might have been capable of such a thing, driven by these misguided and frankly horrific eugenic ideas.
Yeah.
It's deeply disturbing.
It really challenges our perception of history, of the people we consider heroes.
Yeah.
It reminds us that everyone has complexities, and sometimes the truth can be a lot more nuanced than the stories we tell ourselves.
It also speaks to the importance of critical thinking, of questioning what we think we know, especially in a world where information is so readily available. We need to be diligent about evaluating sources, considering different perspectives, and being willing to acknowledge that sometimes there might not be easy answers.
I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners.
Yeah.
This deep dive into the Lindbergh kidnapping isn't about providing definitive answers.
Right.
It's about encouraging you to explore the complexities,
Absolutely.
to weigh the evidence, and to form your own conclusions.
Exactly. We've presented you with the official narrative, the evidence that led to Hauptmann's conviction, and then we've explored this alternative theory that just throws a whole new wrench into this story.
And as you dig deeper into this case, whether through the resources we've mentioned or through your own research, keep in mind that history is rarely black and white. There are always shades of gray, unanswered questions
Yes.
and perspectives we might not have considered.
And who knows, maybe somewhere out there there's a piece of evidence that's yet to be discovered, something that could definitively solve this mystery once and for all.
Right.
Or maybe the Lindbergh kidnapping will forever remain an enigma, a case that continues to spark debate and intrigue generations later.
I think that's what makes it so fascinating. It's a story that keeps us guessing, keeps us questioning, keeps us engaged in the pursuit of truth, even if that truth remains elusive.
Yeah.
So as we conclude this deep dive, we encourage you to continue the exploration. Read those FBI files, examine the evidence, consider the arguments, and see what conclusions you draw.
Because ultimately, that's the power of history. It's not just about memorizing dates and names. It's about engaging with the past, wrestling with its complexities, and using it to inform our understanding of the present.
And with that, we'll leave you to ponder the mystery of the Lindbergh kidnapping. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time for another journey into the fascinating and sometimes unsettling depths of history.
Thanks so much for listening to this show. Todd H. back with you. And it just goes to show you that history that we've been taught isn't always what we think it is. But I just want to give a very special thanks to my terrific co-hosts, Eli Stone and Nora Steele. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. But until then, we'll see you next time on Rogues Crime Galleria.
Step inside. Don't look back. Every shadow's got a name. From the alleys where the cold steel sings to the suits with blood on diamond rings, ghosts of power, greed, and flame. Every legend leaves a stain. Whispers crawl through history's halls, mugshots hanging on haunted walls. Outlaws riding, empires fall. You're one step from it all. Truth gets buried, lies get tall, but we're the ones who hear the call. Welcome to the Rogues Galleria, where the wicked live forever. Every crime, every killer's tale, locked in time we unveil. Yeah, the darkness tells ya you can't run from your past. In the Rogues Galleria, we make the legends last. We make the legends last. Ponzi kings with a silver grin, my boss deals in a world of sin. Six gun smoke in a desert sky, another outlaw lives a lie. Cold case files and a killer's code, buried truths on a broken road. Every story that chills your spine, we bring it back to life. No escape when the truth gets loud, faces staring from the crowd. Welcome to the Rogues Galleria, where the wicked live forever. Every crime, every killer's tale, locked in time we unveil. Yeah, the darkness tells ya you can't run from your past. In the Rogues Galleria, we make the legends last. We make the legends last. Every name carved in the night, every wrong dressed up is right. If you listen, you'll hear them breathe in the gallery. They never leave. Welcome to the Rogues Galleria. Step inside. don't you falter. Every sin, every twisted mind, we expose what you won't find. Darkness calls ya, now you're part of the past. In the Rogues Galleria, you ain't leaving once you pass.